to the entertainer talking sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Before I get started with the video, I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers. Whether you guys liked the pick, whether you guys didn't, whether you guys liked my reaction, whether you didn't. I just want to say thank you to all you guys that respect my opinion, respect my channel, and everybody that came on the Bad Dog stream tonight. You guys blew it up. Had an absolute blast. I'm going to be live tomorrow, pre-draft, and I'm going to have a video up tomorrow also talking about day 2 prospects, whether it's in the second or third round. We have 2 selections at 36 and 99, and there's a lot of big names that fell, but I'll save that for tomorrow. A lot of prospects I like, whether it's at the safety position, edge rusher, linebacker, or even doubling up at the tackle, even though that's probably not the route I would take, as well as the center position is definitely in play. And we'll have to wait and see what the Giants decide to do tomorrow with those 2 selections, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it pans out. But I want to talk about the pick, Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. And obviously, you guys know I like the pick. I was happy about the pick. Andrew Thomas was a guy I didn't talk much about after everything had gotten into play. Matter of fact, I made a video on Andrew Thomas about a month and a half ago, maybe it was a little longer than that, but why was he falling down mocks? I was always confused by that. I think a lot of Giants fans were. Matter of fact, I was getting questions today before the live stream asking me why Andrew Thomas had fallen down mocks. There was never really a viable answer, and my answer was always, well, maybe it was just the other tackle prospects performed so well at the combine. Maybe they looked so good on their tape that it wasn't even anything that Andrew Thomas did poorly. It was just that the others were moving up, and Thomas had the microscope on him, because everybody going into this whole process was saying it was either him or Chase Young at the top of this draft. Young being the top edge rusher, Thomas being the top pass protector in a draft that was thought to be the deepest tackle class in a very long time. After all, it was the first draft class in the last 30 years to have 4 tackles go in the first 15 picks. As a matter of fact, they went in the first 13. And obviously the debate was for Isaiah Simmons. And I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm not. I definitely got the fascination with Isaiah Simmons from all you guys. The defensive, I'm defensive-minded too. All you got to do is go back and look at my reaction last year when I wanted Josh Allen over Daniel Jones. I believe in winning the Giants' way. And the Giants' way to me has always been a stout run game to chew up the clock and a strong defense. And I've said all along that I think this is going to take 2 or 3 years. I don't think Rome is going to be built in a day. But I think the best course of action was to attack with the tackle first during this rebuild with Joe Judge. And the simple reason was all the factors that come into play. You've got the second-year quarterback learning a brand-new offense with Jason Garrett. The system that he played in last year was a West Coast-style offense. It was an offense that called to get the ball out as quickly as possible with the quarterback. Then this system now with Garrett calls for a lot of vertical passing routes. In addition to that, you go back, you look at Dallas. Dallas was built with the line, and Garrett's offense was what it was, what they built it for. Garrett drafted 3 first-round offensive linemen, and obviously he wasn't the head coach for all of it, I don't think, but they drafted 3 first-round offensive linemen, tackles, and the center, and they built their team around that. They then drafted a running back who was a very good blocker in his own right, in Ezekiel Elliott, probably the best blocking running back in the sport. So they were built around blocking. The reason they were built around blocking is because it takes time for the routes to develop in the Air Coryell system, deep passing routes. So I always knew in my heart, especially when they brought in Garrett, that they were going to go offensive line. And it feels good to be right. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But I think a lot of people felt this way. And all signs pointed to it. You need to be able to block the edge rushers going up against Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones has enough on his plate to begin with. He really does. You factor in everything that's going on in the world right now. Daniel Jones has that on his plate. Everything's going to be cut short if we even have a season, which I think we will. But it's not going to be a normal offseason. He's got a whole new playbook to learn. And it's a completely new offense. An offense that he was not initially drafted for. He's got a new head coach. Everything. He doesn't have the best weapons in the world. And they're trying to build the team around the running game with Saquon Barkley. To be able to do that, you need to be able to block. And I expect the Giants to take a center. Whether it's in the second, whether it's in the third, at the latest in the fourth at 110, because they need to shore that up as well. And I think they'll take another tackle in next year's draft. I don't know if it'll be a first-round pick, but they need to continue to build the offensive line, and they definitely need to continue to build the defense, and hopefully they do that. But one thing that a lot of my subscribers have told me is they haven't paid enough attention to the defense, and that's fair to say. They haven't had, last year they had 3 first-round picks, 2 were on the defense, but their first pick in the first round, I think they've had 1 in the last 7 years. Somebody said in the stream tonight. And that's fair to say. And Evan Ingram was a bust. Eric Flowers was a bust. And I think that was the biggest thing why people were scared for Andrew Thomas is the whole Eric Flowers comparison, how he failed miserably with the New York Giants, and I get that. I do. But you can't be scared of past failures. You have to do what is right for the football team, and to me, this was the right pick. It was always the right pick to take the tackle. Andrew Thomas is the safest tackle in this year's draft. He's a guy that we know could play the left tackle. A lot of people say Jedrick Wills is the best technically skilled, but you don't know he could play the left tackle. Most people think he can, and he probably will be able to. And Wills and Thomas, you go back, look at my live streams, they were neck and neck. I had Wills slightly above him in the end because of his connection to Judge, because of what the experts said about him on tape. But Thomas and Wills were always my two favorite prospects. And I liked Wirfs as well. Wasn't on their level. I thought they were going to take Wirfs because of all the things we were connected to him, which is why I had him mocked to the Giants. But in the end, the Giants had a complete smokescreen. Very rarely did you hear Andrew Thomas's name linked to the New York Giants, and all along they wanted him. And the other thing people say was, for Wirfs people, for example, Wirfs obviously wasn't that highly valued. He went outside the top 10. Arizona passed on a tackle. So who knows? Maybe every team valued Andrew Thomas above everybody else, and maybe Miami was looking to move up ahead of the Giants because they wanted Andrew Thomas. We're never going to know. We heard the rumors about number 3, or maybe it was for Tua. But regardless, I think Andrew Thomas was a lot higher in people's draft boards than the mocks gave him credit for, things like that, and we heard that was going to come out before the draft. At the end of the day, Andrew Thomas played in the SEC, the best conference in football for the Georgia Bulldogs, and didn't give up a sack. He didn't give up. I don't think he gave up a hit this year against Jake Fromm. The guy's a tremendous talent, and I think he's going to bring a lot to this New York Giants football team. Now, like any other position, you can't expect him to step in and make an immediate impact. He's a rookie. Obviously, I hope he's good right away, but a tackle's a hard position to learn, especially the left tackle. But he's going to be a big difference maker for the New York Giants. I firmly believe that, and I think it was the right pick. I think it was the safe pick, and I think it's the long-term thinking pick, which is what I've expressed to my subscribers this entire offseason. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I do not want a football team that's going to be good for 1 or 2 years, and then it goes in the dumps like in 2016. I want to build this team the right way. I want to build this team through the draft. I don't want to splurge in free agency. The Giants didn't do that. The Giants took Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas is not the immediate impact of perhaps some other players they could have taken. Isaiah Simmons included. Maybe with Simmons we win an extra game. To Dave Gettleman's credit, and I know a lot of people hate Dave Gettleman, and there's definitely some things he does that I don't like. But even if you hate Dave Gettleman, and even if you hate this pick, you have to give Dave Gettleman credit for this. Dave Gettleman this offseason, with his job on the line, and he knows that. We've heard all the rumors about how Dave Gettleman's going to lose his job or whatever it may be, and sorry about that. I didn't want to screw up the video, so I stood up there real quick there so that the green screen wasn't screwed up. But for Dave Gettleman, for all the heat that he gets, you got to give him credit. He didn't do the same thing that Jerry Reese did in 2016. Jerry Reese knew that his job was on the line, and he went out there and he spent a fortune. Okay, and then he went out there and he drafted a luxury pick with Evan Ingram because he knew that his job was on the line and he was trying to improve this team as quickly as he possibly could. Dave Gettleman did not do that. He did not splurge in free agency. He made cost-effective moves. And he drafted a guy that probably will not have the immediate impact of another player. But it's a guy that is going to help the quarterback that he drafted over the next 10 or 15 years. And for everybody that knocks Dave Gettleman for that, you got to give him credit. He thought about the future of this team before himself. And I love that, Does he do some things that make me question him? Yes. Do I get why people don't like him? Yes. And even if you hate the pick, you got to give him credit for that. He didn't put himself above the team. And I do think Joe Judge was just as responsible for this pick as anybody else. I really believe that in my heart. I do think it was a collaborative effort, just like free agency. We'll never know. I guess there'll never be any evidence about it. And I don't care what the experts say. The people who watch YouTube film. At the end of the day, I believe in Dave Gettleman's evaluation process. For everything that you might say about the guy knows how to draft players. He's drafted well the last 2 years. You got to give him a chance. And this is a much less questionable pick on draft night as compared to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, by most people's standards on draft night, was a huge reach. To me, this is not a huge reach. So, people in the stream were saying, well, he's the third best tackle, the fourth best tackle by this guy. At the end of the day, all four of these tackles were so close by a lot of people. Some people said Becton was the best. Wirfs, Wills, Thomas. You could find, I'm sure there's an expert that found any one of these prospects to be the third or fourth best tackle. Andrew Thomas is going to be a great tackle in the National Football League. I think it was a great pick, and I love the direction of this football team. And I'm happy about the pick. And I can't wait to see how they build the rest of it tomorrow. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.